being offended is a sneaky one, and I don't know if there is a greater time, energy, focus, and effort waste than being offended. And I understand that it's very easy to go there, and almost everybody does at some point in their life. But there's a big difference between having the habit of looking for the thing to be offended by and being able to sit back and have the power to be all in with you in order to experience the power, the joy, and the love of the moment in the present moment, so that you can laugh at the thing that might have usually been offensive. To put it in perspective how silly this thing gets, I once saw a woman, very smart, highly intelligent. She got mad at somebody for laughing at her own joke. Why would she do this? Like, logically, this makes no sense, right? Why? Like, you make a joke, like somebody laughs, like, that's why you made the joke, right? But in her head, what had to happen there? She had to go to that not good enough space. Like, if you're afraid that your joke is not enough to be laughed at, and somebody does laugh at it, then you're going to consider them to not be genuine, and you're going to be like, and you're going to take offense to it or something ridiculous like that. Whatever went through her head, right? I once got offended that a girl that I was dating brought me a glass of water. Now, why would I get a little angry with this? I remember it happening. She brought me, I was like, what do you want from me? Why'd you bring me a glass of water? What's this about? And she was like, what? I just brought you a glass of water. Isn't that ridiculous? But like, if you're not lovable, if you don't find yourself good enough for love, how could anybody ever take care of you? You'd think that they were out to get you, or that they didn't know you very well. Okay? Either way, not very good, right? I had some stuff to work on. Okay? All of us do. All of us do in the bonding category, and we might get into that later. But the point of this video is being offended. It's a huge waste of time. I know a girl that she got offended that her mother-in-law wanted grandchildren. It's like, what mother-in-law probably doesn't want grandchildren? I think most of them do. And it's an interesting thing that we play on ourselves, and we go to this self-victimizing category, and it's just such a focus thing. It's like, are we going to focus on this being afraid that we're not enough, to go to this offensive place that is just basically another word for anger and scared and anxiety wrapped up in one, and be like, oh, that's offensive, and then our friends usually justify it with us. They're like, oh yeah, that sucks, that's really too bad, I'm sorry that happened to you. Well, that didn't happen to you, that happened because of you. The entire 100% of the reason that you got offended was your fault. There is no one else in this mind of yours. No one makes you angry, no one makes you anxious, no one makes you offended. You got offended. And you did it to you. You're the victim and the perpetrator of your own offense. And it's a ridiculous notion to think that you're going to take yourself there. It's a waste of focus. It's a waste of effort. It's a waste of energy. It's a waste of time. And all it's going to do is take that action more on the reps of being afraid that you're not enough, rather than being all in. If you find yourself in a situation where you are offended, you've got some serious work to do. Now we've made an error. We went to a place of being afraid that we're not enough. And you know, we've gone through this enough times with enough videos, you know at this point that you're enough to do your absolute gut-wrenching best. In any moment, we have agreed to that you are enough to do your absolute gut-wrenching best in this moment based on these circumstances. And if that is the case, then why would you go to this scared of not being enough space? All right, now we know that we made an error. So we're offended, made an error. Is this reasonable? Is it reasonable to think that you are not enough? No, it's really not. Okay, well, let's refocus. Are you enough to do your absolute gut-wrenching best? Yes. Let's refocus. All right, now let's go over here. Now, like, I can look back at that time where I got offended and use that as an example, and one part of me still has to manage that I'm a little bit embarrassed about it, and another part of me has to kind of just sit back and laugh at it. Like, that's so ridiculous. But if I hadn't gone through all the spiritual and growth that I've gone through to this point, I wouldn't be able to look back and laugh at it. I'd still be holding on to it, be like, oh my God, that sucks. I wish I hadn't. Like, do I regret it? No, it was something to learn from. Okay? It's an error. You get to learn from it. Okay? You do too. You can think back to a time where you got offended, and you can learn from it. Now you can go and watch a comedy, and you get to laugh at everything. Any joke you hear doesn't necessarily have to be like, I really like Tosh Poino's skit that he does, where he's like, he basically says, if you've ever said there's nothing funny about that, then you can't be friends with him. And I completely agree with him. Almost everything has an ability to twist into a comedic sort of way. I don't know how comedians do it. I think that, but it's kind of a genius thing that they're able to do. It's amazing. But if you stop and you look at things and you watch movies like any Mel Brooks movie, most comedies, they're going to play on this whole offensive thing. And if you get too wrapped up in this, or if you get real wrapped up in this whole idea that you can be offended by anything, well, then you're not going to enjoy life very much, and you're definitely not going to enjoy comedies very much. And if you can't laugh, it's going to be a tough go. So anyway, being offended, huge waste of time, 100% your fault. No one else has crawled inside of your mind but you. And so if this is something that you dig up inside yourself on a regular basis, I encourage you to challenge it.